Welcome back. The issues at the center of the multi-trillion-dollar reconciliation bill have been hotly contested for months. Massive gridlock on Capitol Hill. Good news. A new envoy has arrived to end this brutal impasse. Meghan Markle. Yes, our long national nightmare is over. Meghan Markle is here, and she's got a plan to bring legislators together for a cause that she's championing: paid family leave. Now, according to Politico, the Duchess of Sussex has actually been cold calling senators to lobby for paid family leave to remain in the bill. West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito received one of these cold calls. Capito told Politico that she picked up the phone expecting Joe Manchin, her fellow West Virginia senator. As the number came up blocked, instead the voice she heard on the other end casually said, "This is Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex." How did she even get access to these private numbers? Apparently, New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand made the hookup. Gillibrand told the Politico that more cold calls from the Duchess are coming. Well, if they're anything like the ones she's made so far, the Duchess might want to save her minutes. Maine Senator Susan Collins told Politico that Markle's comments didn't have much of an impact. Quote, "I was happy to talk to her, but I'm more interested in what the people of Maine are telling me." Not surprising. In what world, though, could she imagine that Susan Collins saying, I wasn't in favor of paid family leave before, but when the Duchess of Sussex calls, well, I'm in. Let's light this rocket. The only thing these phone calls could possibly do is firm up resistance and outrage. Meghan Markle put this one on a silver platter. Look, politics is always in part about optics, and the optics here are terrible. Why is Senator Gillibrand giving out these numbers? If senators or presidents want to meet with famous people with causes, I think that's fine. Happens a lot. But it seems to me that this is different and a real issue when a senator is giving out private numbers of other senators for advocacy cold calls. And by the way, isn't Meghan Markle supposed to be apolitical? The royals, according to the Queen's official website, must remain strictly neutral with respect to political titles. The Duchess stepped back as a senior member of the royal family in early 2020, but retained her title, and she's using it. Collins called it kind of ironic that Markle referred to herself as Duchess. I mean, does she think this is going to help? Or is she maybe just doing this to make herself feel good? This has nothing to do with the policy issues, by the way, on paid family leave. I'm not talking about whether it's a good or bad idea right now. Here to discuss is Hilary Fordwich. She's a longtime observer of the British royals, an expert on the monarchy. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. All right, so take us into the mind, if you will, of Meghan Markle. What is she thinking as she is gathering these phone numbers and making these calls?
Well, to ask me to go into the mind of a renegade royal is rather a bridge too far, I'm afraid. And actually, when you gave your rather neat earlier impersonation of her, I don't think she has an English accent. She's profoundly American, so she doesn't speak with an English accent, of course.
That is true. I am I am so busted. You are so right. Of course she doesn't have an English accent. All right, so...
Correct. I think very seriously, what's very serious about this is, an overriding, let's look at an issue right now in terms of the Queen being 95. She's gone through a ghastly year. She's had all these issues with Prince Andrew. She's had her grandson, basically bully her on an international network with Oprah. And they've given out so many different lies, and they've made up so many sort of falsehoods, to say the very, very least. And now Prince Harry can't obviously control his wife, because he knows very well that you can't be a renegade royal over here in the United States, because you're breaking, yes, the point that you made earlier, Dan, you're breaking centuries of the royals staying out of politics, staying obviously not in American politics, let alone they shouldn't be in politics. And what happened at the COP26, that's a whole different issue here. But I would say very seriously, purportedly, Prince Harry was in a panic mode when he heard about his grandmother being hospitalized. But what does he think this is going to do exactly to her health? And then on the American side of things, we didn't elect Meghan Markle. She's not elected. So now to hear, and actually a point that you didn't mention, was that you're right that Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, she gave out the number, the Democratic senator from New York, but also she has said there are going to be more phone calls than just that one to Senator Collins of Maine and also Senator Caputo from West Virginia, there are going to be more phone calls. She said, I gave out the more numbers to different senators. There will be more phone calls. She added that Meghan Markle is going to be in a group of people working on how long this paid family leave should be. We didn't elect her. Who has wanted her to be in that position? That's an issue for Americans to decide.
Well, but I guess what I'm trying to understand, in addition to how to say ghastly, what I'm trying to understand is, did she talk to anyone about this? Did someone advise her? Do you think that there were American senators who encouraged her to do this?
I bet, Dan, it was her PR firm. Don't forget, they have 3 PR firms on retainer. And actually, if you think about what's successful or not, we're talking about it tonight. And it's been it's been on Fox, it's been on numerous different networks. Her PR firm couldn't care less what happens to the royal family. And actually, many have obviously sort of projected that actually what she'd rather see is the royal family being undermined. And she actually is doing that. So perhaps she's successful in what she set out to do.
Well, maybe, but except that, paid family leave is generally popular with the American public, but it's tied to a bunch of other issues here and political issues and dollars, et cetera. And it just seems to me that in the end, that what this has done is, I think it's backfired a bit, meaning that I don't think anyone was going to change their mind, right? It's not as if, as I mentioned, anyone's going to say, oh, I got a call, I'm changing my mind. And so I think that in the end, what you've done, though, is had some negative media attention surrounding it. Because, look, my first reaction was not even to think about the policy issue, and was to think about the protocol and think about what was happening. What was she saying? And that's not positive. It just doesn't seem to me that she's moving the ball forward in her cause.
Right. And also the letter that she sent about a month ago to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, that letter was on the Duchess of Sussex letterhead. So that's formal letterhead, which again is breaking royal protocol. And also, Dan, think about this. They supposedly, again, another lie, but they left the UK. There was this Mexit move, obviously, as we all know. And that was to avoid all the publicity. That was to avoid being in the spotlight. That was for a quieter life. This isn't a quieter life, smiling and dialing senators.
Did you just make that up, or did you have that ready to go, smiling and dialing?
It's true, right? It's like she was smiling and dialing, cold calling.
You're good. No, it was a great line. And I was like, wow, did she just come up with that?
That's what she was doing.
It's a great line.
And she's going to be doing more of it.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure, Dan.
Coming up, usually it's Jen Psaki versus Fox News, but then President Biden just took questions, and it was a doozy. It seems a Fox question got the administration to actually change immigration policy. That's up next. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.